Clayton Nick actually came in very early last week and played very well. Just where do you see him this week, and who could be his backup if he's got to start?
Yeah, we thought Nick came in, and Coach always talks about being ready, always staying ready throughout the week. You never know when your number's going to call and get called, and I thought he did a great job, and Coach Gray did a great job of getting them prepared for the game because he had to go in on the 7th play because of RJ's injury. His backup will be B.J. Gibson right now, freshman, redshirt freshman, I think. Nick. Depends on RJ's availability. Right now he's questionable, so and RJ's trying his best to get back, so it all depends upon that.
You've coached at a lot of different places and levels. Do you ever remember facing a quarterback quite like KJ Jefferson with his size and the way he moves at that size? And if so, how do you go about game planning someone as unique as him?
Going against KJ Jefferson I actually went there in 2019 at Western Kentucky. He came in late, so I remember him because he was a big physical guy, and I do remember saying that's a big quarterback, and I think he's gotten bigger. He's a good player. They do a great job of designing their offense around him and his skill set. Just a big guy. I think you need more than one person to tackle him for sure.
Who's KJ and scout team this week?
Right now, we're just using our regular quarterbacks, just like Jalen Daniels right now, and him and Braden Davis and Tanner is the other quarterback who is filling that role.
And I guess with him, they do a lot of obviously zone read stuff with him, and then they throw. How do you kind of coach that with your ends in terms of holding the edge while also understanding that he can run it, but also if they need to drop back and pass?
It's college football at its finest right now, zone read and trying to manipulate things with the defensive ends on how the quarterback's reading it and all that good old stuff. And so right now we just tell our guys to, the running backs first, the quarterback second, or you can switch that up. And they're just doing a good job right now of just making you can't play it the same way the entire game or they'll take advantage of it.
Going back to Saturday, Debo Williams flashed a lot on the field. How would you assess his performance?
So I was proud of Debo. He played 32 snaps in the meaningful part of the game, and that's growth, and that's what we talk about here as the program, and very proud of how he played. And each and every week he's going to put in the work. He's probably one of the hardest working individuals from a consistent basis from the day one since we gotten here, and it's paying off for him. I'm proud of it.
A lot of new looks on defensive back Clayton, but some of the other guys, Hunter and O'Donnell, Fortune, how are they looking? How are they kind of playing in? And then also another freshman, Anthony Rose. How are they playing in maybe going forward?
Yep. The main thing right now with O'Donnell should be back up in the mix this week. We also have DQ Smith. We also have Keenan Nelson. Along with Keenan, we have Emory Floyd. So those guys are all coming along. Excuse me, I'm going to take a glass of water. My wife told me I need to start drinking some water here. I've been sweating, so.
Clayton, obviously Jaden Hazelwood's only been there for a little bit as a transfer, but I guess just as a receiver, what does he kind of bring to the table as far as what do you guys have to match up against him, and how does he kind of affect their offense, if at all?
I'm sorry, what name did you say?
Jaden Hazelwood.
Oh, Hazelwood, the wide route from Oklahoma, former Cedar Grove guy. So he's a good player. He had a really good, I know he unfortunately had an unfortunate time at Oklahoma. But as far as matchup-wise, I think IDBs love challenges, and I'm pretty sure they do as well. I want to do a great job of giving our guys help. They know what their help's at, know when you can't leave them out to dry the entire game, but I think those will be great matchups out there.
A lot of times Saturday night you had two true freshmen back there at safety. So, when you see that, how does that make you feel? And now that you're going on the road for the first time in this kind of environment, can you foresee having those two back there alone, kind of by themselves a good bit out there?
It completely – I can't say that I want to, but sometimes the way the game unfolds and the injuries and, some things you can control, some things you can't. If we can control it, we like to keep a veteran out there with the freshmen just to balance things out. But a lot of times, like you said the other night, they was back there by themselves, and I thought they held their own for their first game, and proud of them. And Coach, like I said, Coach Gray is an amazing defensive back coach who prepares his guys better than anyone I've ever been around. And so there's a lot of confidence in that, and those guys love the game of football, so that helps a ton.
How much did y'all move around Cam Smith last week between nickel and corner, and what did you see from him at both of those spots? How did you feel like you were able to use him?
It was pretty cool. I never had that opportunity to do that in this defense, to actually move a guy from corner to nickel within the game. And once again, Coach Gray came up to me 2 weeks ago and said, don't resist the comfort of keeping Cam at nickel. Let's make sure we get other guys in there because so you want to be able to have Cam outside as much as because, they threw a couple, they caught one, then they got a PI. So we have the versatility to put him outside when we want to. But that was not a plan. We was kind of going with the flow of the game. We knew it was going to be a 4-quarter football game. And Cam's versatility really helped.
And you had a couple of DBs enroll in January who looks like they've been passed by some guys who came in the summer and Peyton and Anthony. What do those guys need to do to get back in the mix, or how are they coming along?
Yep, those guys are coming along. Everybody's different. You wish everybody was the same, but everybody's completely different. And I think, just speaking on them, I don't like kind of comparing kids, publicly like that. But I do think that Peyton's a guy that's coming along, getting better every single day. So is Anthony Rose. He's gained 25, 30 pounds since he's been here. Our nutrition, Kristen Coggins has done a fantastic job with him, with Luke Day, his staff. So he's going to have a bright future as well.
Clayton, when you do have freshmen, having to play a lot, obviously these guys are in their spot, but as a coach, I'm sure you've seen it sometimes where they look real good in camp and maybe it's not so good. Just how much of a nervous feeling is that, saying they earned it, but it's a whole different thing when they got to play in a game?
It's definitely a nervous situation, but, with me, myself, my personality, I kind of stay right between the middle, never too high, never too low. But it's all about coaching and teaching and growth, and I think that's the fun part about it. We're able to watch them learn certain things about this defense and how to play the game situationally, and just watching them go out and make plays in front of 80,000. I thought that was really cool to see. They only gonna get better.
Yesterday Shane was talking about how Arkansas likes to play fast on the offensive end, but some of the defenders yesterday were also talking about how they often practice against a high-tempo offense, things like that. I wanted to get your perspective on that. How do you feel like practicing against that, first-string offensive team? Obviously, there's some personnel differences between them and Arkansas, but how does that kind of help you guys prepare going into Saturday?
Yep. It's one of those things where the excitement of the game, once you get out there, the anxiety, so you already have a little fatigue just mentally and emotionally. But when you get on the field, it's kind of hard to duplicate, to be honest with you, but you can kind of create a chaotic environment at practice to everybody's jogging around, sense of urgency. But our offense and our look team has done a great job of giving us as many plays as possible, as fast as they possibly can, and that's all you can really do. And I've been practicing on it at practice, is giving them the calls late so they can kind of scramble with a sense of urgency and get lined up.
Hey, Clayton, we had Mo in here yesterday talking a little bit about his first start. How would you, evaluate his first, real performance under the lights? And, where do things stand, too, with Sherrod and kind of his recovery after the injury last year and everything?
Things are, first with Mo, proud of Mo, how he went out there. He played hard. He played with a lot of energy. He kind of, set the defense the way we need to be set. And then he also, he flew around and he had fun. With Sherrod is still working his way back. Sherrod is feeling really good right now, so we're excited to get him back in the fold, and we all know what kind of player he is.
Yeah, Clayton, you mentioned that Georgia State took a couple of shots down the sideline on Saturday. What are the pros and cons in those one-on-one type matchups of the defensive back being face-to-face with the receiver and trying to break up the pass versus turning around and trying to pick up the flight of the ball?
Yeah, that's my football question guy, man. He does a good job at that. So when you're playing the deep ball down as the DB, it's two things. You're either going to be in phase with the DB, with the wide out, or you're going to be out of phase. And then so now you got to make the decision when you're in phase, are you going to look up for the ball and make the play? If you're out of phase, you don't feel good about turning around, so you play the hands. So those are kind of two things that happen. So sometimes some DBs that panic, they are in phase and they still don't turn around, they get the PI. So that's what happens. So I think those are split-second decisions. A lot of pressure on them, but you got to train those and put those guys in those situations. And like I said, Coach Gray does it at practice every day. You're either in phase or out of phase. You're either going up for the ball or you're playing the hands. So, and it's just do it over and over again where it becomes second nature.
A lot gets made about the two Jordans on the edge, but I think Gil Edmond had some pretty good plays there. Just what did you see from him and the kind of jump he's been able to make from guy that's kind of had to bide his time to where he is right now?
It's just, to me, it's just patience. Just being patient as a college football player, not jumping the gun and making decisions. He's a prime example of that. And I mean, someone who's going to be a really good football player. He's really young. He's really talented. And he's learning every single day. But it was, once again, that's one of those names I didn't want to keep throwing out in the summer, but I knew he was going to be a guy that was going to flash, and he could have had a sack in the game as well. But I'm proud of how he's doing it. But he's just another guy, just patience. Just be patient.
Shane was talking about this a little bit on Sunday with regards to kind of the team in general, but is there anything you learned about your defense that maybe you didn't know going into an actual game setting that you found out Saturday?
Not particularly. I kind of know these guys very well, but, I mean, I learned that, you know, when the road gets kind of tough, they kind of get closer and closer together. And, you know, as the game's going, you realize what kind of game it is. And, like, listen, we have to go ahead and continue to get stopped. I think we had 7 3-and-outs. We had, like, 4 in a row. And we was getting in a good little groove there. I can't remember what part of the game, but we had 4 in a row at some point. And then our guys were fired up about it. And then we knew that somebody just made one play to give us some more cushion, and we just gonna keep on piling this thing on. It was fun. When they enjoyed it, they didn't want to come out the game. The starters didn't, so we had to like beg some of our guys. No, I think we're good. We're up 35-14. Let's go. But they want to keep finishing, which we're proud of that too.
Clayton, I think you guys had 9 pass breakups last night or the other night. I think that was more than you guys had in any game last year. I mean, I don't know what is the product of that? Is that just a matter of how the game could shook out? But and if not, or I guess kind of to that, what else did you see from your secondary, at least in terms of some of those situations, and be able to make a few plays on the ball in those situations?
Yeah, Boogie had one too, right? So they love giving the credit to the DBs, but nah. To me, once again, it's our guys just understanding that, you know, when to play the ball, when not to play the ball, and our defense. I mean, so we have really good DBs. We feel like, and they're gonna be put on the island at times. And it's a team defense, it's a team sport. And our guys, up front guys, know that if they do catch a ball, let's not get mad because we're trying to pack the box. But they're having fun, and I think the DBs, and they take pride on touching the football. Awesome. Take care. See y'all, man. Yep.